So, let's take a closer look at an area of the Atlantic Ocean known as the Bermuda Triangle, the boundaries of which extend from Bermuda to Miami to Puerto Rico back to Bermuda, covering an area of at least 500,000 square miles and at most 1.5 million square miles of ocean. It is also known as Devil's Triangle. Despite the fact that people navigate boats and aircraft through there every day without incident, the area is known for many craft that have disappeared mysteriously. No one knows exactly how many ships or planes have gone missing so far, but on the low end, it is estimated at about 50 ships and 20 airplanes, although you may hear numbers in the hundreds, the wreckages of which most of them have not yet been found. Now, it just so happens that the deepest point in the Atlantic Ocean, the Milwaukee Depth, is in the Bermuda Triangle. The Puerto Rico Trench at the Milwaukee Depth, at that depth, is 27,493 feet deep. So the Bermuda Triangle is the deepest part of the Atlantic and probably the most stormiest part of the Atlantic, with its frequent hurricanes and tropical storms. So today we're going to take a look at the theories about those waters, not just overgrown sea monsters, but paranormal activity involving ghosts, UFOs, and USOs as well. Aliens, Atlantis, sea monsters, ghosts, gravity fields, methane gas, magnetic anomalies, water spouts, huge waves, storms. There are a variety of reasons a ship or a plane could go missing in the Bermuda Triangle at any given time. With all that going on, without answers to this mystery, we are left with theories and speculation leading to a never-ending campaign to discover the truth of what is embodied in the sea of monsters. The Bridgewater Triangle, the Bennington Triangle, Dragon's Triangle or Devil's Sea, the Michigan Triangle, the Matlock Triangle, the Alaska Triangle, all places known for strange happenings. From Bigfoot to Thunderbirds, UFOs, magnetic anomalies, disappearances are big. People and craft going missing is big. Plane crashes, oh, and did I mention UFOs? You ever wonder why UFOs are such a big part of this picture? People cite Bigfoot, and there they are. There's a storm, there are some UFOs. 9/11, UFOs. Lightning storms, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, earthquakes. UFOs seem to like haunted locations as well. But there they are at every event. Whether it's orbs or unidentified aircraft or sea craft, they always seem to come around these events and places. So what this is, and there used to be a name for it, enchanted. Think about an enchanted forest. It is not just one element that makes it enchanted. If you walk through a forest that is said to be haunted by spirits, you can bet there are also strange sounds, orbs, cryptid creatures. There's strange weather, strange shifts in time. There's a lot going on. So when people go missing in these places, and this is what it really boils down to, people going missing without a trace. Actually, when it comes to people going missing in these triangles, the Alaska Triangle has had more than 16,000 people go missing since the 80s. People go missing there at a rate that is twice the national average. So what you try to look for when it comes to events in the Bermuda Triangle are patterns. For example, let's say there was a giant squid in the triangle, 150 feet long, which some scientists say can exist. I believe the largest known squid is around 43 feet. And let's say this giant squid would attack boats 20 to 50 feet long, damaging and pulling the boat down and its crew and passengers. If that were happening, it would not explain the other disappearances, and you would eventually catch on to the pattern of this creature. There would have to be the kraken down there, one large enough that it can swat planes down with its arms. It would have to be hundreds of years old, or it'd have to keep multiplying. There would have to be several of them. From 1492, with Columbus seeing what may have been a descended meteor lighting up the distant sky above the water, up until last year when a small boat with 20 people on board went missing, there have been no reports or stories of sea monsters, mainly because no one knows what happens to these people. Only the people who go missing know. That is why these are all theories. And at the same time, there could be some truth in these theories to some degree. It really only takes one story to start a legend. The mystery of the Bermuda Triangle may have finally been solved. A strange sight found on satellite imagery could be the key to unlocking the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle, according to a pair of meteorologists. So what happened was, in every few years or so, someone comes up with a new theory about the Bermuda Triangle. And that's where all these theories come from. People trying to figure it out over time. Now, you have to keep in mind that the weather patterns today are not the weather patterns of a decade ago, or 20 years ago, or 50 years ago, and so on. So, to try and figure out what was happening to disappeared planes and boats in the past using satellite imagery of clouds today is what makes that just a theory. What they found were hexagonal holes in the cloud formations above the triangle, which could be what are called microbursts of air, with super high velocity winds. Essentially, the air funneling down. This could suck a plane or boat right into the ocean if it entered one of these pockets, which could be 20 to 50 miles across. But that doesn't mean that happened to these craft. Some people, they do know what happens to them. Some boats sank, and sometimes, not often, they do find the wreckage later. Some planes have crashed. Some ships do get eaten by the storms, waves, and weather. Water spouts have been seen in that area, like water tornadoes. Some pilots have lost control of equipment upon entering the zone and have had to detour. This is a highly volatile area with just the weather alone. Now, weather phenomenon is not really conducive with vessels just vanishing without knowing what happened to them at all, especially when said vessels don't put out any distress calls or signals. When it comes to magnetic anomalies in the Bermuda Triangle, according to the U.S. Navy, there are none. In other words, what they are looking for are any magnetic disturbances that would affect navigation equipment, like spinning compasses. However, navigation has never really been the issue with these cases of disappearances. Such magnetic anomalies would normally be caused by magma flow beneath the crust. And the closest known source for that would be 1,000 miles off the coast of Brazil. Now, here's the thing with methane gas. The theory is methane gas from decomposed organic debris can get trapped in what are called methane hydrates in the ocean floor sediment. Over time, the concentration can build up. If there is a landslide or a break in the ocean floor where this gas can be released, this creates a surge up and out of the surface of the water, and any ship passing through could sink because of the massive decrease in water density. The floating boat would no longer float and sink to the bottom and possibly get buried underneath the open sediment. This doesn't really account for planes missing or being knocked out of the sky by methane gas, and it doesn't hold much water, being that scientists say there have been no eruptions of the sort in that area for the past 15,000 years. There is a wormhole theory, a theory of portals opening up and swallowing aircraft and boats, displacing them in time and or location. Of course, you would need evidence of this happening to these craft, and there isn't any. The only thing we have that would suggest that is the fact that some of these craft just vanished without a trace. Lost communications, tracking, everything. Never to be heard from again. There is a case that probably set the stage for this portal theory, Flight 19, where 5 bombers took off from the Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station for a routine 3-hour training flight. 2 hours after the flight began, the squad leader reported his compass and back compass had failed, and there were radio malfunctions as well. Rescue aircraft took off with a 13-man crew. 3 minutes later, the aircraft radioed that its mission was underway. They were never heard from again. 14 men on Flight 19 and 13 men of the Mariner aircraft. This sparked the largest search and rescue mission of the Bermuda Triangle, and nothing was found. No aircraft, no men. There are stories about a crystal pyramid being discovered rising from the ocean floor. A story put out in the 1960s, by the way, by one Dr. Ray Brown, who described such a structure in his adventures scuba diving in the Bahamas. The thing about pyramids is that there are many of them on the ocean floor and buried beneath it. But the discovery of an underwater buried city like Atlantis or pyramid structure doesn't mean that it is the source for the triangle's disappearances. There are a group of researchers who believe when it comes to the Bermuda Triangle that there is no mystery. There really are no missing craft or vessels, just missing facts. And I do agree that many of the facts are lost at sea. Many of these theories are just thrown into the air. Stories get rumored and passed along. Without eyewitnesses and physical evidence, it's anyone's guess as to what happened in many of these cases. We do know that those souls that were lost are no longer with us. But there is one thing that keeps these theories alive. There is one thing that can be observed and has been, aside from the weather phenomena, and that is UFO sightings. That photograph taken of a UFO by the Navy in 2020, last year, is in the Bermuda Triangle. There have been thousands of sightings in that area and in Florida, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico. I would consider this area to be a UFO highway. Some believe that there is a USO base beneath the water. What's interesting is there have been strange findings associated with UFOs, such as a circular crater with ventricated sediment, which could either suggest a meteorite impact crater. However, the crater was too perfect, void of vegetation and animal life, with strange patterned lumps protruding from the ocean floor of the crater. This was actually covered on the History Channel about a UFO sighting or crash in the Bermuda Triangle. Even when testing the sediment of the crater, no conclusions could be reached. Now, I don't believe in the ghost of dead people, but I do believe there may be a lot of spiritual activity or paranormal activity going on in those waters, similar to a graveyard. Not to say that spirits may be causing the disappearance of these craft, but if that were the case, it would explain quite a bit. The bottom line here is, with the Bermuda Triangle, we have all this history, reports, stories, rumors, theories, but not enough facts to come close to any conclusions as to why the Bermuda Triangle is a missing persons hotspot, aside from its natural threats. That is why it still remains a mystery, and probably always will be, enchanted. There is more to come and more to discover. The truth may not always be discovered right away, but it will always be stranger than what we expected. Be sure to visit woodwardentertainment.com and the Woodward Entertainment store. There is a lot to cover this week as we try to stay ahead of the madness. Everyone take care and God bless. And remember, as always, friends, stay awake, stay aware, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all soon.